Hi friends, welcome to our channel Notes Factory UPSC. Today in this lecture we are going to discuss the 7th chapter of NCERT Classics, and the name of chapter is Our Country India. Before going to the chapter, those who does not subscribe to my channel, subscribe now and like the video. Let's move to the chapter. In this chapter we are going to discuss the whole country, that means our Indian vegetation and the Indian physiography, how the India look like and what is the India's boundaries and what about India's area, like that some basic facts which were very important for NCERT exams as well as UPSC and state PSC exam. So make thorough through this chapter and it will be very useful for your competitive exams as well. So let's move to the chapter. India is a country of vast geographical expanse that we all know, and in the northern portion of India there is Himachal Pradesh, in the southern portion of India there is Indian Ocean, in the western side there is Arabian Sea, and in the eastern side there is Bay of Bengal. Okay, once more, in the northern side there is Himalaya, in the southern side there is Indian Ocean, in the eastern side there is Bay of Bengal, and in the western side there is Arabian Sea. That is what is discussed in the first paragraph. And in the second paragraph, the India has an area of 3.28 million square kilometers. So the area of India is about 3.28 million square kilometer. And when we look in from the kilometer extent, that from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, that means from the north to south extent, it is extends up to 3200 kilometer. That means from Kashmir to Kanyakumari it is 3200 kilometer, and from east to west, which is extends from Arunachal Pradesh to Rann of Kutch, it is extends about 2900 kilometer. Okay, so make clear that portion. So the area is 3.28 million kilometer. From north to south, that means from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, it is 3200 kilometer, and from east to west, that means from Arunachal Pradesh to Kutch, it is about 2900 kilometer. Okay, there is a great variety of climate, vegetation, wildlife as well as in the language and culture. So in India there is a great variety of climate, vegetation, wildlife, language and culture. In this diversity we find unity, that means we have unity in diversity behalf of all the nations. And India has the population that binds us one nation, and India has a population more than 121 crore, that means 121 crore since the year 2011. Last census has been in 2011 and the next census will be on 2021, that means from a 10-year of duration. Okay, so now the population of India will be more than 1000, that means more than 121 million, and it is the second most populous country in the world after China. Okay, so when we look into the locational settings, we can find that India is located on the northern hemisphere, that we all know, and the Tropic of Cancer, that means 23 and 30 degree north, which passes almost half to the north, half through the country. Okay, so when we look to the map of India, we can find that the Tropic of Cancer, that means 23 and 30 degree north, which is passes through our country. From north to south, the mainland has been of the India has been extends between 8 degree and 4 degree north and 37 and 6 degree north latitudes. Okay, so from south to north, India is extends between 8 and 4 degree north and 37 and 6 degree north latitudes. Okay, so from west to east, India extends between 68 and 7 degree east and 97 and 25 degree east longitudes. Okay, so make clear through this measurement, it will be very useful for the exams. Okay, so when you look at the left side of the box, we can find that there is a blue box which is very important. The large countries which stretches extensively from east to west does not have the single standard of time for the whole country. When we look, we can find that in USA and Canada they have 7 and 6 times zones respectively, which means that USA has 7 time zones and Canada have 6 time zones. You have remember how many time zones there are there in Russia. We have already discussed that the Russia have 11 time zones. Okay, so USA have 7 Canada have 6, and Russia have 7 time zones. Okay, this will be very useful for your exam, so make clear this concept. The local time changes by 4 minutes for every 1 degree of longitude, that we have already discussed on the previous classes. Those who does not understand this concept, go through the previous chapter and make clear that concept. Okay, so the local time changes by 4 minutes for 1 degree for longitude. That means for every 4 minutes 1 degree longitude is changing. The sun rises about 2 hours early in the east, that means in Arunachal Pradesh, than in the west, that in Gujarat. Okay, so the time difference between the sunrise is about 2 hours between Arunachal Pradesh and Gujarat, that is because of these time zones. Okay, you have already read this earlier, and the local time of longitude of 82 and 30 degree east has been taken as the Indian Standard Time. That means when we divide this India into a perpendicular, that means when we divide the India into an equal half, we get this time zone as 82 and 30 degree east, which is taken as Indian time zones. Okay, make clear this concept. 82 and a half degree east is taken as Indian time, that means Indian Standard Time. Okay, that is known as standard meridian of India. Okay, so let's see the next concept, that is India's neighbors. There are 7 countries which shares boundaries with India, and find out their names. We can find out together. So let's see the map of India, and we can find that several countries are which shares borders with India. Let's count them. Pakistan 1, Afghanistan 2, China 3, Nepal 4, Bhutan 5, Bangladesh 6, and Myanmar 7. So there are 7 countries which shares boundaries with India. Which are they? Afghanistan, Pakistan, China, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, and Myanmar. Okay, is that clear? Here is a geographical map which shows the India. That means the Indian political map is shown here. We can find that there are 29 states. Okay, now when we look at the Jammu Kashmir area, we can find that now recently Jammu Kashmir is divided into another union territory, that is Ladakh. So it is 2, that means we have 8 union territories and 29 states. Okay, and we can also find that there are small islands that is surrounded to the Indian Ocean, which are surrounded to the India. They are Lakshadweep Islands. And then we can find there is Sri Lanka, and there is a strait between Sri Lanka, that is the Park Strait. Okay, and in the eastern side there is Bay of Bengal, and in the western side there is Arabian Sea. We can come to that point. So let's look to the next. Across the sea to the south lies our island neighboring as Sri Lanka, Maldives. Okay, and the Sri Lanka is separated from the India by Park Strait, which I have already discussed. That means Park Strait is here, the separating point of the India and Sri Lanka, and the Park Strait is located almost on the place where the Sri Lanka and India is divided. Okay, so we can look into the political and the administrative division of the India. India is a vast country for administrative purpose, and the country is divided into 29 states and 9 union territories, because the 9 union territories means which recently the Jammu Kashmir is divided into Jammu Kashmir and Ladakh, which stands as a union territory. Okay, Delhi is our national capital, and the states have been formed mainly on the basis of language. Okay, we will discuss the formation of state in the politics classes as soon. Then we can look into the physical division. India is marked by the diversity of the physical features such as mountain, plateaus, plains, coasts, and the islands. And the standing as sentiments in the north are lofty and snow-capped Himalaya. That means we have the north side is of Himalayan ranges, and the Himalayan mountains are divided into 3 main parallel ranges. I will discuss with the help of map, which will help you to more this concept. So in the northern side there is Himalaya, which is mainly divided into three main ranges. They are Great Himalaya or Himadri, Middle Himalaya or Himachal, and the Shivalik on the southernmost. Okay, so when we draw three lines, that means the three parallel lines, we can find that on the topmost line is Himadri. That means the firstmost line is Himadri, and the second line there is Himachal, and the third is Shivalik ranges. Okay, is that clear? Then we can find there is northern plains which were lying to the south of Himalaya. So in the south of Himalaya we can find that there is northern plains, and they are generally level and flat. That means they are plain, that means they are level and flat, and these are formed by the alluvial deposit of which is laid down by the rivers such as Indus, Ganga, Brahmaputra, and tributaries. These river plains provide the fertile land for the cultivation, and that is a reason for the high concentration of the population in this region. That means the northern plains in the India experiences higher population due to the deposition of the fertile land, which provides the high population area for the cultivation and area for settlement. Okay, now let's look into the map and find more details. On the northern side we can find that Jammu Kashmir area, which is have Great Himalaya, and there are three ranges which I have already discussed as Himadri, Himachal, and Shivalik, and below these ranges we can find that there is North Indian plains where Yamuna, Chambal, Ganga, these rivers have been flowing. And when we came to the western part of India, there lies Great Indian Desert, isn't it? On the western part of India there is Great Indian Desert. It is very dry and hot sandy stretch of India which have very little of population. As we know, Indian desert is very hot and it is not capable for cultivation and habitation since there experiences very little vegetation. Okay, from the south of northern plains to the peninsular plateau, that means in this peninsula, what is meant by peninsula? A portion of land which is laying almost towards the sea. That means the three areas are covered with water. As we know that on the eastern side there is Bay of Bengal, and western there is Arabian Sea, and the southern there is Indian Ocean. So this portion is a triangular shaped portion which is known as Indian Peninsula. Okay, so to the south of northern plains lies the peninsular plateau which is almost triangular shape, and there live a highly uneven, and this region has numerous hill ranges, and they have the border with the northwestern side also. Okay, so here we can find there is Vindhya Satpura ranges. Here we can find there is Vindhya Satpura ranges, and river Narmada and Tapti which is flowing through this river. Here we can see that Narmada, Tapti on the Vindhya Satpura ranges. Okay, and the west flowing river that to the Arabian Sea, and it is flowing towards Arabian Sea, isn't it? This Narmada and the Tapti river is flowing towards Arabian Sea, and they are west flowing rivers. And when we came into the Western Ghats, that means on the western side there is Western Ghats or the Sahyadri. It is also known as Sahyadri, and it borders the plateau in the west, and the Eastern Ghats provide eastern boundary. Okay, when we look into the Deccan Plateau, we can find that on the western side there is the Western Ghats, and in the eastern side there is Eastern Ghats. So the Deccan Plateau is guarded by Western Ghats on the western side and the Eastern Ghats on eastern side. Okay, while the Western Ghats are almost continuous, we can find that the Western Ghats are almost continuous. That means there is no break even between the Western Ghats, but the Eastern Ghats is not as much as even there is a breaks between this, and this plateau is rich in minerals like the coal and iron ore. So the Eastern Ghats, that means on the eastern portion we can find the Eastern Ghats, and this portion is very rich in minerals, iron ore, and other important minerals which have industrial purposes. To the west and to the west of Western Ghats, that means on the Western Ghats, the east of Eastern Ghats which lies the coastal plains. That means on the west of Western Ghats and the east of Eastern Ghats there is coastal plains, and the west of coastal plains is very narrow. We can find that the western coastal plain is very small. Here we can find that it is very small, but eastern coastal plains is almost wider. Okay, it is almost wider. The rivers such as Mahanadi, Godavari, that means here we can find Mahanadi, here is Godavari, here is Krishna and the Kaveri, which is flowing towards the Bay of Bengal. Okay, so these rivers are flowing towards the Bay of Bengal. Which are the rivers? Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna and Kaveri, which drains to the Bay of Bengal, and these rivers have formed fertile deltas at their mouth. We can find that these delta mouths, that means the place where the rivers and the seas intersect, we experience delta, and these deltas have rich fertile lands which were suitable for cultivation, and they were also rich in minerals. Okay, the Sundarban Delta is formed where the Ganga Brahmaputra flow into Bay of Bengal. We can find that here is Brahmaputra, which is on the northeastern side, and Ganga on the northern side, and here is Sundarban Delta on the West Bengal region. We can find that there is Sundarban Delta, and the specialty is the Sundarban Delta is very rich in minerals, and it is a very suitable ecosystem for Bengal tigers also. Okay, so it is what the important physiographical contribution of India. Once more I will go in detail. In the northern side we have the Himalayan ranges, and in the southern side we have Deccan Plateau, and in the middle we have the North Indian plains, and on the northeastern region we can see that there is Great Indian Desert and Aravalli ranges. On the center of India we can find, that means on the peninsular India we can find that there is Vindhya Satpura ranges, and Narmada Tapti river is flowing in between them. On the southern portion we can find that the eastern side have the Eastern Ghats, and the western side have Western Ghats. Okay, and there is coastal plains on the side of the coastal areas, and the western coastal area is narrow, and the eastern coastal area is more large. Okay, so in the eastern coasts we can find that the Kaveri, Krishna, Godavari and Mahanadi is flowing towards the Bay of Bengal, and the north of there we can find that the Brahmaputra and the Ganga rivers are flowing towards Bay of Bengal, which is forming the Sundarbans Delta, which experiences very high fertile lands and high mineral forms. Okay, so behalf of them we can find that the two groups of islands on the part of India, that is Lakshadweep Islands, which were located on the Arabian Sea. That means in the Arabian Sea we can find that there is Lakshadweep Islands and Nicobar Islands on the other side. Okay, so the Andaman and Nicobar lie to the Bay of Bengal region. Also in the Bay of Bengal region we can find there is Andaman Nicobar Islands, and in the Arabian Sea we can find the Lakshadweepian Islands. Okay, so these areas are the most affected due to the tsunami of 2004, as we know. Then there is a small concept which is laying towards these islands, which were of coral regions. Okay, we can look into this. So what is coral? That is what is discussed in this picture. We can find the coral islands on this picture. That means the coral islands or the corals are the skeletons of the tiny marine animals which were known as polyps. When the living polyps die, their skeletons are left. Okay, so these polyps, when these polyps die, their skeletons are left. Other polyps grow on the top of the hard skeleton, which grows higher and higher. That means when a polyp die, its skeleton is left and their other polyps grow above the dead polyp. Okay, in this way it develops into an island, and it is known as coral island. Okay, these are the main concept which we have deal with this chapter, and now our chapter has end, and it's a very simple chapter and which have so many important concept. So go through this concept and make clear these ideas in your mind, which will help you to achieve good marks in exams as well as competitive exams. I hope you enjoy this class. If you like this, like my video, subscribe my channel, share it with your friends. Thank you.